It was, a man who was obviously in a lot of pain or very angry or, very grouchy, and they come in and they're very upset, and your first response, "Hi, how are you today?" It would be greeted by, "No, I'm just looking at her," and they'd be very gruff and unfriendly or whatever. But what would happen is people would change, and sometimes in the most amazing ways, because I kept my attitude towards looking at them in a loving way and having my heart open. Things started to happen that I can't even begin to describe. They were nothing short of miracles. People would, within a very short period of time, would open up to me and say things like, "Jesus, I just had a really bad day, my wife left me, or I lost my job, and I'm sorry I was, unkind to you," or whatever it was. But I was amazed. I mean, the fact that I sold a lot, in that case it was men's clothes, it became completely irrelevant. I did become very successful. But what happened is people opened up their hearts, and I opened up my hearts, and I made connections with people that went far beyond anything that I'd ever experienced. And I learned the most powerful lesson that has stayed with me for my entire life, and that is that your heart is either open or it's closed. And when your heart is open, and when you're, for whatever reason, you're motivated to open up your heart, miracles happen. Life-changing experiences. You find a connection with people or with situations that go far beyond what you've known before. And so, if you've heard me speak before, this is definitely one of the most common topics, is to talk about love. But I had the opportunity many years after that. First of all, I read everything that Og Mandino wrote: The Greatest Miracle, The Greatest Salesman, The Greatest Secret. I highly recommend them. But he became one of my my mentors, and everything that he wrote I took to heart and tried to practice. So when I found out years later that he was speaking at a place in San Diego, of course I needed to be there. So Joellen and I went, and this is right now, as of this recording, it's 2009. I don't remember how long ago this was. It was quite a number of years ago, maybe 15 years ago. So he spoke to, 300 or 400 people in the crowd, and the talk to me was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, his physical presence itself was amazing. The tall, handsome, good-looking guy in a suit, very eloquent, well-spoken, and knowledgeable, and distinguished. And the outer form of that was incredible. What he said was phenomenal. But he said one very important thing in that talk, and have you ever had the experience where someone is talking in a video or on a tape or on TV or in a movie or in a group, and you feel like what they said was exactly for you right now at this time? Well, that's what I want this to be for you, because he said something to me that just literally floored me. It felt like time stood still, and he was speaking directly to me. And he said, if you had 1 year left to live, what would you do? What would you do with your life if you had 1 year left to live? And for me at that time, it was very important for me to find a way to follow my heart. And for me, my passion, ever since I first discovered these kind of principles, was to find a way to share these principles with as many people as I could. They literally transformed my life. I went from being, and many people that even know me don't know this, but I was very suicidal in high school, and very sad and depressed, and had my ups and downs. And on the outer side, people thought I was successful and had a lot going for me. But inside, I was filled with torment, and it was very difficult, very, very challenging, and that tendency has carried through my whole life. But what these principles helped me to discover is that all of that that plays out in form in your personality doesn't have any power. I mean, it has the power that we give it, and that's why we tend to fall into these tendencies of addiction or sadness or depression or whatever. But our true self, who we really are, which is connected to the infinite, which is loving and powerful, that part never changes, and that's accessible whenever we want. So Og Mandino's talk, when he said to me, if you had 1 year left in your life to live, was a very powerful turning point. I knew that what I needed to commit to was learning to live from these principles and to find ways to share. So I started to write, and I started writing just about every day, and have been for over 20 years. It hasn't been until recently that I found a way to share this, not only the writing but the speaking. And this is a perfect example of it. Here I have the opportunity now to share through video and through my websites and the writings what has transformed my life and become so important for me. I waited in line after the talk to meet Og Mandino, and hopefully I won't get too emotional in this video, or I won't be able to communicate, but I waited, I don't know if there was 200 people in line, but I waited for over an hour because I wanted to meet Og Mandino and tell him how much his work had meant to me. And I did, and I gave him a big hug, and it was like two old friends meeting. But I told him how much what he had said and lived, how much it meant to me and how much it changed my life. And he said something to the effect of, "So what are you going to do about it?" And I said that I would do what I've always known that I should be doing, and that is to find a way to share this with others. And so he encouraged me to do that, and so here I am. But I can't even begin to describe to you how important it is to take these teachings to heart, to find a way, your own particular path, to every day remember what's really important. Because what's really important is not the money, it's not all the other forms that we think that are so important in our life, and it's not that you can't have those things. You could have all the money, you can have all the friends, the beautiful home, the cars, the trips, have a career that you love. Absolutely, those things really are an outer manifestation of what's going on inside us. Because if the day now becomes, how can I give? How can I use this day to give my gifts to the world? For me, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm finding every way possible to live from this, to learn how to love and to share this message. And if any of this means anything to you and makes a difference in your life, then find a way to do the same thing yourself. Find a way to give your gifts to the world. Share this video with as many people as you can and want to. And my websites and my phone number and everything are on there, so call me or email me. I'd love to hear your reactions or comments, or if there's anything I can do to help, that's why I'm here. Bye-bye and God bless.